He co-founded 2 startups. One startup was selected amongst the top startups of India by Numa French Accelerator. I welcome Mr. Akshay on behalf of VIIT Alumni Association and request to start the session.
All right. Thank you, Subhash sir. Before we begin with the session, a quick check. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, Akshay.
All right.
Yes, Akshay.
And to all the participants, would be great if you can just type in the chat box. Just type Y in the chat box. All right. Thank you, Anand. Thank you, Shubham. Thank you, Vedant. Atharv, Shashank, Saili. Thank you, Abhishek. Okay, voice is cracking a bit. Okay. So I've turned off my video in order to get better connectivity, which will save bandwidth for all of us. Thank you, Arya. Thank you, Siddhant. Okay, all right. So I think we have good responses, and I'm assuming I'm audible and everyone can see my screen as well. So thank you, Subhash sir, for this opportunity and for arranging this session. So before we begin, quick best practices for the session. Make sure you are placed in a quiet environment with no background noise. Please turn off your webcam and your mics during the session. And in case you wish to communicate anything additional during the session, please use the chat box, the chat window, and you can personally write to me or the panelists or the organizers, and be assured that we will be taking all the questions. So before we begin with the session, a quick contest. I would request everybody now to open your phone browser or your laptop browser and type in menti.com, www.menti.com. So what we will be doing throughout the session is, this is not going to be a one-way session. We will be having some interesting quiz and questions throughout the session, and we will use this tool called menti.com. So once you open this tool, this URL, please enter the code, which is 826347. Okay, if you're done, would be great if you can just type in Y in the chat box. All right, thank you, Harshvardhan. Thank you, Prajakta. Thank you, Siddesh. Thank you, Shubham. Okay, thank you, Praful. Waiting for a few more responses. All right, so I'm assuming all of you have logged on to menti.com with the code 826347. So before we begin, a quick introduction about me. Subhash sir already have introduced me, but a quick snippet. I currently head the delivery for Jombay. We are a leadership development company based out of Pune, and we have been working with 500 plus corporate customers, and I head the delivery for the company. And in my other associations, I've been associated with Government of India and Niti Aayog for their various initiatives. And I have co-founded 2 startups early in my career. And one was the startup which got accelerated by Numa. All right. So please log on to menti.com, enter the code 826347, and we have the first question for you for the day. So define entrepreneurship in one word. Would love to see more responses. Adventurous, self-employed, working on your own idea. Okay. Self-headed organization. Okay. Self-employed. Happily working. Oh, that's nice. Independence. Expressive. Innovative. Business. Be more creative. Dream. Self-constructive. Leaders. Change. Working on your own idea. Exploring self ideas. Innovator. All right, so we have about 63 participants and we have about 30% of them answering. Would be great if others can quickly have this answered so we can proceed with the session. All right, adventure, dream, interesting, innovation, helping others, overrated. Oh, okay. Risk taking. business and leaders. Exploration, looking for ideas. Thank you, Samir and Janvi. And in case you're facing trouble with Mentimeter, feel free to use the chat window as well. All right. Thank you for answering that. So what we are going to cover in today's session are what are those 7 myths about entrepreneurship. I have read some of the responses which did mention overrated. Some of them had innovation, some of them had ideas mentioned, some of them had working for self mentioned. So let's look at, and we will be answering and addressing some of these in today's session. Now, given the time limit, we will end the session by 6:15 and have 15 minutes for Q&A at the end. All right. So here, number one, you need funding to start business. How many of you agree to this? Just type in Y if you mean yes, and N if you mean no. So is funding really needed to start a business? All right, Samir says depend on the business type. Shubham says yes. Sai says yes. Shravan Shetty says no. Devdatta says yes. Sagar says yes. Okay, Siddhant says no. Not always dependable is what Jay says. Okay, Mugdha says yes. All right. Thank you so much for your responses. So let's look at the debrief on if you really need funding to start your business. So, typically what happens is when you have to start any startup, some of the responses I do agree that it always depends on what kind of business you want to get into. If it is a manufacturing business, maybe you would need funding right at the beginning. But if it is a pure play software business, you may not need funding as always. So, what can be done here is you can start your micro testing of your product or the service, basis the idea that you have. One can always go and test it out in the market. This can be possible with a concept called MVP, which is minimum viable product. So what this means is take your idea to your potential customers, show them it could be a presentation, in a presentation way, or it could be a small prototype of what the larger picture you want to build. See if the customers or the buyers are interested in the concept. If they are interested, I think what you need to do in the initial stages is to sell your concept and then raise the capital from your potential customers, either in the form of advance payments or investments. I've seen a lot of startup entrepreneurs first building the entire product, which takes say 4 to 6 months, or at times even an year-long development effort. And when they take the product out to the market, then they realize either the product that they've built is not the right fit for the industry or for the targeted audience, or they are too late in the game. So hence, I would suggest if we could come up with minimum viable product of our idea, which is also a prototype, and then take this to market. You will learn by showing this to your potential customers, getting their feedback, and then iterate. That's a better way to go about it. So what I would suggest here is do read a book called The Lean Startup by Eric Rice. He talks about all these concepts of startups. What is an MVP? How do you scale your company? How do you grow your company? How do you take your idea to the end product and make it scalable? So to answer, for some of them, it could be a myth that you always need funding or you always need that initial financial support to have your startup in place. But it could not be the case as always. And someone rightly said, always ask a question to yourself, am I solving a real problem? And would people pay me for that? So just take your MVP to the targeted audience and just ask them a simple question: is this solving your problem? And will you be willing to pay for this? If no, what it would take for them to pay you That would be the real crux to identify and then build your product or service accordingly. So any questions that you may have on myth number 1, which is you need funding to start a business? I am visiting the Q&A section as well and the chat section. So in case you have any questions. All right, someone is asking for the Menti code again. Okay, the book name is The Lean Startup by Eric Rice. So you could get an online copy of it, or you can buy a hard copy as well. The code for Menti, for those who have missed, is 826347. All right. So let's move to myth number 2. The only requirement is to have a good idea. So how many of you agree to this, that to have a startup, the basic requirement or the only requirement is you need to have a good idea? Type in yes if you feel yes and N if you feel no. Okay, Prafulla says no. Shruti says no. Bharat says idea should be innovative. Vishwajit says no. Saili says no. Shubham says no. All right, Abhishek says yes. No, it should have a solid business plan. Okay, Samir, that's a good point. Need to think about its existence as well. Okay, Prajakta, that's a fair point. All right, can we have some more responses? It's relatively to decide if an idea is good or bad. So you try it out, whatever comes to your mind is what Atharva says. Okay. Pooja says yes, if you really make a difference. Vishwajit says idea should be materialistic. Okay. All right. Thank you everyone for your responses. So let's quickly debrief on if the idea, having a good idea is the only requirement to have a startup. Every idea needs a strong execution force. No matter how good or bad the idea is, idea without execution is not going to take you or the company to a higher level. So ideas are of course important. It should be solving a real problem. But what is also important is planning, the talent that or people you work with, the leadership, communication to the internal stakeholders who are your teammates and the external world who are your potential customers or the well-wishers. And of course, a host of other factors which is responsible to scale up the idea. So, simplest of the idea, if well executed, can take the company and, it can become a $1 million or $1 billion company. Would you have any examples, any one of you, of a very simple idea, any simple tool that you may have used, which we were using in offline world, but someone took it online and now they're earning the revenue in crores and millions? Any examples? So I would go first. A simplest example is Ludo King, Indian made app from a Bombay guy. All we used to, we all used to play Ludo when we were small. We used to have this, Ludo played offline with our parents and with our siblings. But someone took this online and now the company is one of the highest downloaded app across the world and one of the highest rated app across the world. Is now earning in crores. And a lot of investors are now eyeing on that company to invest. Can some of you name any such companies who have taken offline to online or maybe have implemented a simple idea which is online and are doing great now? Okay, Uno is one such example. Siddesh says delivery of milk, grocery and food. Of course, bang on Siddesh. We see a lot of companies in the segment of delivering milk, grocery and food. Big Basket, Grofers, then we have Super Daily, Raddiwala.com, yeah, Urban Clap, Yeah, that's the aggregator of all the services. Amazon, yeah, that is like A to Z. Anything you want, you just visit Amazon. Yeah, Paytm. It did start with mobile recharge and then it evolved into an e-commerce giant. Redbus, yeah, this was a revolution back in 2008-9. People used to struggle to buy bus tickets, but Redbus came and just disrupted the entire industry, and it made ticket booking so easy. So it's a simple idea that a simple problem statement that I want to book bus tickets. From where do I book those? And someone built Redbus. Yeah, Book My Show, Oyo Hotels. Yeah, Oyo is also working on a very fantastic business model where they are co-owning the hotels at times or they're leasing out the hotels. Yeah, Ola. Earlier, we just had these auto rickshaws on road and we would have to go by what they charge. But now things are different. You get to see the fare right before you even enter the cab. All right. Thank you so much. So a tip here is try creating a business model canvas for your idea. So just think around, you know, in your day-to-day life, what are those challenges that you or your family members or your friends and families are facing? Think about the idea and try creating a business model canvas. If you just Google out business model canvas, you will find a template um, and tons of applications online which will allow you to create this business model canvas. This will help you bring more visibility not only from ideation standpoint but also from execution standpoint. Who are your targeted customers? How are you going to reach to those customers? What are your marketing channels? Why would the customer prefer or buy your product or a service? So you'll have good answers to your thoughts. And yes, so no excuses, no explanations. You don't win on emotions. You will always win on execution, is rightly said by Tony. All right. Let's look at myth number 3. Entrepreneurs don't quit. How many of you agree to this statement that entrepreneurs don't quit? Type in yes if you feel yes, N if you feel no. Practo, yeah. Okay, Atharva says yes. Shreyas says yes. Pooja says no. Saili says no. They do, everyone. Okay, Samir says they do. Not everyone is a success story. Bang on, Samir. Sagar says no. Prajakta says no. Depends on the situation. Absolutely, Mugdha. All right. Let's do a quick debrief. So, there is a point in, everyone's life where you feel, I mean, I can't go beyond this point. I have to quit. There are a lot of instances, I being an entrepreneur myself, having co-founded 2 startups, there were multiple instances and occasions which forced me to think if I really want to continue or quit. This happened twice with me. One, when I was thinking if I should continue my first startup, which was a product cum services company. And second, when I had to shut down my second startup. Of course, there are different reasons, but it does come to everybody. And at some point, one always thinks if you are quitting or want to continue the game. So Samir says, do you think it is worth quitting your full-time job and become an entrepreneur? Sir, your voice is not clear is what Siddhant says. Okay, Siddhant, can you try to refresh or re-log in once? Others, am I audible? A quick check. Type in yes if I am audible.
Yes, Akshay, you are audible.
Okay, thank you, Subhash sir. Okay, Pooja says it's breaking a bit. Okay, I'll try to be closer. I've turned off my video. All right. Okay, so there are certain instances when an entrepreneur really thinks if he or she should continue or not. But quitting one company or one startup doesn't mean it is quitting for lifetime. So what are those instances when one feels that, if this should be continued or not? if you are digging a financial hole, depending on your financial situation. But one thing is for sure, that whenever you have to start a startup, you have to give sufficient time, energy, and dedication to that startup. It can't happen that you're trying something side by side and then you feel it's not working, and then you feel that we should shut it down. So there is a 1,000-day theory that a lot of us follow, that you have to give 1,000 days at least to your startup and then conclude if this is going to work or not. But of course, it depends on your family scenario, your expectations, on why are you wanting to do the startup and how is the market responding to it. There could be other reasons, like if your co-founder are really matching up to the expectations of each other. So can you rely on your co-founders? If no, it could make you think if I should really be continuing with my startup or we should part ways. And does the business mean to you today what it meant when you had started it? Keep asking this question to yourself, that am I doing the right thing? Am I doing the right thing, which the intention by which I started the company? If you are heading in the same direction, you are good to go. But if no, then maybe there is a time that you need to relook and think back on what really you want to do ahead. So, a tip here could be, speak to the founders who have tried their hands at entrepreneurship, but couldn't continue. You will find all good answers and reason for someone to not to continue the startup ahead. And there are tons of examples otherwise as well. There were certain challenges, but companies overcome those challenges. One such classic example is Housing.com, which had raised say $600 million from a Chinese giant, SoftBank. They initially had 12 co-founders. One by one started quitting. And when they left, they had about 3 or 4 co-founders left on board. And then someone else had to take up the leadership team. And then they continued with the company. There are other such examples like Redbus or Zomato, where startups are still together. Recently, one founder quit Zomato, but they were together for a longer time, and they really did well in the Indian market, and also took the company at an international level. And if there is a financial challenge, there are always ways to overcome. Either you raise your funds from your friends or family, or in case you want to scale and grow, there are always these investment options available. But out of 100, only 1 or 2 will get funded. That's the ratio. So looking from an outsider perspective, startup industry looks very lucrative. There is name, fame, and money, but hardly people know that out of 100 or 200 odd companies, only 1 or 2 will be getting the name, fame, and the financial support. So there is a question. Hi Akshay sir, do you think it is worth quitting your full-time job and become an entrepreneur? So Samir, often I get asked this question. In my opinion, you first have to evaluate that will you be okay to quit your full-time job at least for a year or 2. Imagine a situation that nothing works for, let's say, 2 years at least. Will you and your family be okay with that? If yes, then move on and think what is it that you really want to solve, and how is it going to impact the end user? What is the product or service that you want to offer? If you still feel that this is a real problem that I want to solve and I could make money out of it, go and talk to your potential customers. You check the willingness, and that's how you can validate your idea. There is no right or wrong answer to this. So it's not a straightforward answer that if is it advisable or worth quitting your full-time job and still become an entrepreneur. Of course, there are certain other jobs where you can still work and be an entrepreneur in your company itself, where you could head or handle an entire department and be the sole decision maker and drive it. So let me clear one thing, guys. Entrepreneurship doesn't mean starting a startup always. You can exhibit entrepreneurship in your student life by solving some real challenges and problems for your community, for your class, for your college, for your institute. It could also come at your workplace, where you handle or head an entire department and come up with really interesting problems and solutions to it, to which company can build and then take it forward. So I hope that answers your question, Samir. Pooja says what to do if you realize the business doesn't have feasibility midway, or if it doesn't mean the same as it meant when we started. So Pooja, that's a good question. If so, I'll take your first question, the first part of the question. What do you do when you realize the business doesn't have feasibility midway? There are two ways to look at it. First, you need to do, you need to identify why is the business not feasible going forward. What is the issue or the challenge that is coming along? Is it the market problem or is it the product or the service problem? Depending on that, if you feel the product problem, there are always ways to pivot your product and change the product direction and then build it, as per the market scenarios. That's one way. Second way to look at it is if you feel that nothing is working and you have exhausted your financial support, uh, there is absolutely no harm in kind of quitting for time being and then rethinking on the strategies. Or does it, or if it, and now answering your second question, or if it doesn't mean the same as it meant when we started, it is fine to pivot as long as you know how you want to pivot the product or the service. So I hope this answers your question, Pooja. All right. There's a question from Atharva. How will we know if an idea or decision is good one without first trying? Please explain the psychology behind it. All right. So Atharva, look, so there is no idea which is good or bad. It is, of course, and without trying it, how would you decide on that? So Atharva, that's what I was mentioning earlier, that you always go with the MVP to your targeted audience. Sell your concept, sell your idea, see if people are convinced and if they are really happy with the problem that you're trying to solve for them. If yes, then go ahead and ask the question that, will you be paying me for this solution? If there is a willingness, it means the idea is worth it. Replicate these, surveys or these questionnaires with multiple other, potential customers. That's how you can kind of analyze without even building or trying out the idea if this makes sense or not. There's a question from Sunil. Why only one or two company gets funded? Why not other companies? So Sunil, look, investors will evaluate the company from all angles. What sector are you in? What is your background? Then they will also evaluate the environment, the current business scenarios, and what is the plan for you to scale and grow the company. So most of the investors these days invest in people rather than idea, because people are the ones who will be executing the idea. So ultimately they want to invest in execution and not much of an idea. And not many people exhibit or are able to exhibit the execution strategy or plan to the investors. So there are multiple reasons to it, but yeah, these are some of the top reasons why only few companies get funded. I hope that answers your question, Sunil. Okay. All right. Guys, are you with me? Just type in yes if you are. All right, Atharva, Shubham, Samir, Varad. All right. Thank you so much. And goes without saying, quitting doesn't mean a failure. It's always preparing for the next leap. All right. So let's look at myth number 4. And after this, we will be having a short quiz. So myth number 4, entrepreneurs have to be connected and should be from the top universities. How many of you feel most of the people who have acquired funding or the companies who are doing good, their founders are connected to, the investor community, or they are from the top universities or B schools? Type in yes if you feel yes, N if you feel no. All right, Saili says no. Kaushik says no. Varad says need not to be. Rajata says no. Shubham says no. All right. Arya says no. Sunil says yes. Shubham says no. All right. So let's do a quick debrief. So don't let yourself feel down for the university that you have been studying from or you've studied from. We have enough examples of people coming from not so famous universities but have gone a long way. One best example I would like to quote here is Kunal Shah, founder of freecharge.com, and now he's building a platform which was acquired by Axis Bank for about millions of dollars. He was not from a famous B school or a university. In fact, he was not even a grad. He didn't even complete his graduation, but he still made it and got acquired. His company got acquired by Axis Bank. And now he's building his another venture called Cred, which is a credit card management platform. Of course, there are certain other examples as well where people from good universities have proven to be doing good in their business and startup. So where does it impact and how does it matter if one, coming from a good B school or not? It is the network that you are exposed to. If you're studying from a good B school or a good university, you already have good connections with your alumni and your peers. That's the advantage that I see where, a lot of people come back saying if the founder is from a top university, chances of him or her getting funded are more. But I would say that's a myth and it is not true in all such cases. And of course, there are, as I said, added advantages of studying in a top university, but that's not the factor which will define your success. So how do we overcome, even if you are not from a top or a A+ rated university or an institute? So one needs to build his or her own network. And how do we do that? Is basically be active on LinkedIn. There are enough social media platforms where you can, expose yourself and get connected to a lot of people. So LinkedIn is one of the best platform where you can be active. Write down your thoughts on LinkedIn and you can have a lot of followers from LinkedIn. You can write articles and blogs. You can connect with people on Twitter, retweet, have discussions, have debates. You can attend all the relevant events, but don't overdo events. Beyond a point, events are not going to help you much in case you are planning to network or have a startup that you are planning for. And don't hesitate to connect with people. People who are shy will have issues and challenges in the community. So be open for feedback, be open for criticism, be open for appreciation. But the baseline here is try and connect as many people as you can. So a tip here is have a challenge for yourself to write at least 50 articles in a quarter. Take this as a challenge for yourself. It could be on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Quora, or Instagram, no matter what platform you choose. But try and write. This will help you think and have a thought or an opinion on a certain topic, which will give you more clarity and help you in the longer run. So there is a question from Sunil. Okay, there's a question from Pooja. Yes, it makes a difference because in the case there are stronger corporate connections, better guidance, better hands-on experience, there can always be exceptions though. Yes, Pooja, that's absolutely right. So in cases where people are not from top B schools or universities, the way to go about it is build your own network by being proactive on different social media platforms or different forums. So there's a question from Sunil, whether MBA is required to start a business, what we learn from MBA course. Doing online MBA is a good option for your suggestions on this. Okay, that's a very fair and valid question, Sunil. Thank you for asking this on behalf of the community. So, frankly speaking, MBA is not the criteria, or rather there's no criteria to have a startup or to start any business. But what will the course help you is doing an MBA from a good B school may help you in getting some basic fundas of your business right. It could be about sales, marketing, or product marketing, or digital marketing. Plus, you will have a stronger network because people, peers who are doing MBA with you, you'll always have people to share your thoughts, discuss, debate on your ideas. and maybe put together a good structure for your business. What we learn from MBA course is the basics of finance, marketing, product marketing, people management, and digital marketing, and how to run a company. But goes without saying that any theoretical knowledge, it is not only for MBA but even for engineering, science, commerce, or arts. Without you actually implementing that or trying it out yourself, burning your hands and fingers in that, without doing that, all the theories will just remain theories and will not really, because situations are different and you need to decide or act upon those as and when they come. So there is no golden formula that you do this, and these situations will be avoided. None of the textbook or course will teach you that. But of course, there could be an advantage to get the basics right, is what I would say. Doing online MBA is a good option for you or not. So look, it depends on what kind of MBA you are pursuing, from where you are pursuing, and what kind of a course that is. Because even in an online MBA, there are multiple courses of 6 months, 1 year, or 2 year long. So it all depends on what kind of course you are opting and from which institute you are opting the course. But it is always good to keep learning, as you execute or implement on a day-to-day basis. But the baseline here is it's not the required factor to start a business. There's a question from Saili. Which branch of MBA do you suggest which will be most helpful? So Saili, frankly speaking, this all depends on what your career aspirations are. Again, there is no branch which is good or bad. There are people who take up MBA operations if someone has done his or her mechanical engineering, for example, and if they want to move in a manufacturing industry or a setup and want to stick to the core, people often take, say, MBA operations, which will help them to be in the same field with an added MBA tag on with them. If you want to do, get into sales marketing, people often take MBA marketing as an option. If you've done your BBA or if you've done your BCom, people often choose MBA finance in that case because the field is same. And then with MBA finance, you can stick to the field and do more in the field. So, I mean, it would be unfair if I would suggest you any particular branch here, but most common that have worked for people and that people opt for is MBA marketing. But again, it all depends on a case-to-case basis. So I hope that answers your question, Saili and Sunil. All right. So rule of thumb here, and someone rightly said, your net worth is your net worth. So try and build your network, which is eventually going to be your net worth. All right. So let's do a quick quiz now. I would request everybody to log on to menti.com. The code here is 826347. Just type in yes if you could log into menti.com. Here is the first question for you on the screen. Who is the founder of HCL, the famous IT technology company? Alok Kejriwal, Shiv Nadar, Azim Premji, or Dilip Sanghvi? You have 20 seconds to answer. Come on guys, quick. We have about 20 responses. 5 seconds to go. 3, 2, 1. All right. Let's look at the responses and the correct answer. So 11 of us have been able to give the correct answer. The founder of HCL is Mr. Shiv Nadar. All right. Let's quickly look at the second question. All right, here is the leaderboard. Agent X9 is at the first position and the fastest, Varad at the second position. All right. Here is the second question for you. Who is the founder of redbus.com? Come on, guys, quick. Is it Phanindra Sama? Is it Bhavin Turakia, Vinny Bansal, or Nitin Kamath? All right, we have 32 odd responses. Now let's look at the correct answer. Oh, so we have about 18 of us giving the right answer. It is Phanindra Sama. All right, let's quickly look at the leaderboard. All right, let's see Agent Varadan J. All right. Oh, Jay is the fastest. Second is Akshay. Third is Rutuja. All right. So Varadan Agent have moved down. Okay, there are two more questions. What does unicorn mean in startup industry? What do you mean by unicorn? Is it valuation of companies over $1 billion? Is it having international offices? They are startups from food industry, or they are self-funded startups? Okay, we have 20 responses. Come on, guys, quick. 8 seconds to go, 5 seconds to go. All right, time's up. Okay, so 17 of us have been able to give the correct answer, which is companies who are valuated above $1 billion are known as unicorns. So there are a few unicorns in the Indian startup industry. One from Pune, which is Dhruva. Then we have companies like Flipkart, we have companies like Byju's, and now recently Zerodha is one such company who's tagged as unicorn. All right, let's look at the last question. But before we get there, let's look at the leaderboard. Who was the recently appointed co-founder of Zomato? Is it Pallav Nadhani? Is it Sachin Bharadwaj? Is it Mohit Gupta? Or is it Avlesh Singh? Who was recently appointed as a co-founder in Zomato? All right, 3, 2, 1. Let's look at the right answers. Mohit Gupta is the correct answer. So Sachin Bharat is the founder of Tasty Khana, ex-founder of Tasty Khana, which got acquired by Food Panda. Pallav Nadhani is the founder of Fusion Charts, and Avlesh Singh is the founder of WebEngage. So let's quickly look at the leaderboard. Seems some issue with the leaderboard. So in the interest of time, we have 3 more minutes to cover. Let's move on. So entrepreneurs have great ideas and have a clear vision of the future. So let's do a quick debrief. So ideas evolve over a period of time. Business scenarios can change every year. At times it is not in your hands, but you have to come back stronger with the plan B. So imagine the current situation where companies are in due to COVID. A lot of businesses had to change their product, services, offerings, or the way they operate. So, have mentors and seek their advice. One should always know when to pivot their business model. Not always be sticking to the core thought process that one had when he or she started the company. Over the period, you have to go with the flow, make changes in your business model if needed, and pivot. So there are enough examples during COVID that we've seen. A lot of people, I've seen a lot of companies who were offering, say, B2B groceries have now moved to a model and flipped their model to B2C delivery as well. So there are, lot many other examples you will find doing these things. Ola Cabs also had, was a cab aggregator app or a website, but they also ended up in going and delivering the fruits and vegetables. So a tip here or a to-do here would be study the businesses who pivoted their business models. You will come across, many such examples, and also would be good to know why did they pivot and how did that help them run the business ahead. So, very famous, quote by Ryan, least is to flower as action is to ambition. Rising to success requires adding and alternating the starters. So let's quickly look at myth number 6. A good product automatically translates into business success. So, time to market is very important. There are a lot of good companies who had a good product or a service initially. Okay, so who had good products or services initially, but because the market was not ready for that, and by the time the market went and happened to be ready, they had shut down their business. So there are some examples that I have seen closely where somebody had started online grocery back in 2010-11, but because the market was not ready then, they had to shut down or wind up after a couple of years. Had they had patience, things would have been different for them today. Okay, in the interest of time, I think we just have 5 more minutes. I'll quickly cover the this and the next myth, and we can do a quick feedback session. Demand, supply, and competition is also important. Identifying right geography audience is equally important in the business. So what I would recommend and suggest here is try and create your ideal customer profile. Who is going to be your buyer? How is the buyer looking like? What is his age? Where does your buyer live or stay? What is his day looking like? What is the income source for your buyer? So, build on all these questions and then create your user persona, which is the most important thing to identify the right audience or the right customer for your offerings. And the last myth, you should start a business when you have some extra time on your hands. How many of you feel this is the statement that you agree to? Quickly type in yes, if, why if yes, N if no. Pooja says, does it mean targeting very specific set of people? Yes, of course, because your product or service can't be for anybody and everybody. You have to be niche and you have to be knowing who's the target audience. There are very few examples like WhatsApp who is meant for anybody and everybody. But for a lot of other products, you have to have a user or a customer profile. All right. So I see some responses from Samir, Atharva, Kaushik, Pooja. We should be dedicated if we decide to do something. In my opinion, so it's not about time, but it's about being ready is what Rohan says. All right. Thank you for your responses. A quick debrief. So there will be no time when you will find extra time because life is always going to be busy. Priorities will change over the period of time depending on how you go and what your surrounding is looking like. So ideate and speak to people as much as you can and validate your hypothesis. This is what I had covered even in myth number 1. And the most important thing is to validate your hypothesis by creating an MVP and speaking to your colleagues, peers, or ideal customer profiles. So start with the MVP, start selling your concept. You will get most of the answers, I would say, and you will get good direction. So a tip here or a to-do here is, can you identify 1 or 2 real world problems and validate your solutions in the next 2 months? So a recap on what we covered today. Myth number 1, you need funding to start a business. Myth number 2, the only requirement is to have a good idea. Myth number 3, entrepreneurs don't quit. Entrepreneurs have to be connected and should be from top universities. This is myth number 4. Myth number 5 is entrepreneurs have great ideas and have a clear vision of the future. Myth number 6, a good product automatically translates into a good business success. And the last myth was, you should start a business when you have some extra time in your hands. All right. So myth number 5 is entrepreneurs have great ideas and have a clear vision for the future. So Siddharth, in the interest of time, we can connect online and have this discussed. All right. So once again, for the last time, please log on to menti.com. Your code is 826347. We have a last question for you on menti.com. All right. So here is the question on your screen. So please answer and rate on all the points. If you have liked all the 7 myths which we discussed today, the session, if it met your expectation, if the facilitator, that is me, I was able to deliver, if the content was powerful, 1 is the least and 10 is the highest. Your feedback will matter and help us design this presentation better for your colleagues going forward. All right, we have 20 odd responses. Can we get to a number of 40 responses at least? We have about 65 participants. All right. Meanwhile, I'll answer a question from Sunil. Sunil has asked, you can make money by investing only if we make money without investing. Okay. All right. That's a point which Sunil made. All right. Can we have a few more responses? All right. Vikas sir, we have another 5 minutes, I think. If we can do a quick Q&A, if people want to ask questions.
Yes, actually we
share
can
my
do.
LinkedIn profile.
So
Yeah.
almost all questions you
So-
have answered.
Right.
So
All right.
one question, you can make money by investing
Yeah.
only if make money without investing. So there are some quotes and some questions were asked by students. I think all questions are asked by
Answered, right?
participants and you have answered them very nicely. So even
Yeah.
though if any question is from participants, please do
Sure.
ask. We can solve it.
Yeah. Sure. So I see a question from Vishwajit. Someone is asking for my LinkedIn profile. So if you just can search Akshay Nahar, type in Akshay Nahar on LinkedIn, you will be able to find my profile. I work with Geometry. Just type Akshay Nahar Geometry, you will find my profile. So meanwhile, I'll take a question asked by Vishwajit. Many IT startups failed. Can you please elaborate on this? So look, Vishwajit, there are many big companies or even the small companies who have not been able to take their company to a a good level or a higher level or run the show for a longer time. There are multiple reasons to it. Some big IT companies have been shut down because of some financial frauds. Satyam Saga is one such case which comes to my mind right now. Then there are some small IT companies or some small startups who have failed. It is because either clashes or issues with the co-founders. It is because of the financial support or enough of customers that they were able to reach, or it is because their product or service or the offerings were not well taken by the market. Market wanted something else and they had built something else, or they failed to communicate better about their products or services. So there are multiple reasons for a startup being failed. It is not failure actually, it is of course always a learning. But in terms of shutting it down, you could consider that as a failure. But of course, it's not the end of the world. There are always chances to rise back, bounce back better. So I hope this answers your question in a
Akshay, I want to ask one question.
sure.
Today, EDC cell of VIIT, under that many students have started their own ventures. They have registered, they have done the all formalities. So what is
Right.
your suggestion to for them to go ahead or achieve
Sure.
success?
Yeah, that's a very fair and valid question, Vikas. Thank you for asking that. What happens typically is, I see a lot of people and students being extremely active and enthusiastic, during their college days and participate in the ED cell. But what could help here is if they can quickly build an MVP, as I mentioned earlier, and try and figure out ways to take that to market and validate the hypothesis. You never know, there could be 1 or 2 startups every year right from the college. That's point number 1. Point number 2 is there, once you validate the hypothesis, can that be converted into a business model? Either they themselves can run it, or they could work with someone else to build or grow the idea that they have. And as I mentioned earlier, entrepreneurship is not always about starting your business. It is about trying out something, learning, failing, again learning, learn, unlearn, basically, which can be applied at their job place as well. So in my opinion, I would not recommend students to look entrepreneurship only as you to be called as entrepreneurs. If you start your own startup, you do exhibit
Yes, Akshay. Very nicely. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right,
I think we are
so
running out of
Sorry, Vikas?
time.
Yeah, I think it's 6:35 and we need to wind up. So thank you
Yes, sir.
everyone for your time, patience. Thank you, Vikas, Subhash sir, Vavi, and the entire Vishwakarma team for this opportunity to interact with the participants.
Yes, Akshay.
Quickly,
Thanks a lot for being with us. Dear participants, he was Mr. Akshanar, alumni of Computer Engineering Department, 2012 batch. Thanks a lot, Akshay, for accepting our invitation and joining us. Today, Mr. Akshay talk on topic 7 myths of entrepreneurship. Under that, he has highlighted various rigorous point and various important points that every entrepreneur must know. And yes, this is really going to be helpful for the participants. I really want to thank to the Huawei team. They have taken a great efforts and for the arranging the sessions. Thanks to Gagan sir. Again, thank to TPO Vishwajit Kate sir, then our I2IC coordinator head, Dr. A.P. Kulkarni sir, and Subhash Satale sir. Thank you, dear participants.
all right. Thank you, everyone, for your time and patience. Stay home, stay safe.